Technology is our shared future, radically transforming how we work, how we connect, and how we live our lives, enabling collaborations that span the globe, sparking innovation that knows no bounds, and inspiring digital solutions that have the potential to reshape our world. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is leading the way forward, ensuring that the opportunities of the 21st century become a reality for all, bringing the future to life today.
Welcome, distinguished delegates and speakers, to the Digital Economy Roundtable. My name is Dr. Aisha Khanna. I am the co-founder and CEO of Addo AI, an artificial intelligence solutions firm and incubator based in Singapore. Digital transformation is my life's work, which is why I'm excited to act as the MC and the moderator for this event. I want to begin by giving you a bit of background on the organization hosting this virtual roundtable. The National Digital Transformation Unit was founded as a Center of Excellence in 2017 by Royal Decree. The NDU is mandated to accelerate digital transformation in the Kingdom and to work towards achieving the objectives of Vision 2030. The National Digital Transformation Unit's aim is to grow the digital economy by promoting innovation, entrepreneurship, and investment in young talent. The 2020 global health crisis reinforced the importance of a resilient digital economy. This roundtable marks the beginning of a new and important effort that seeks to foster cross-sector communication to accelerate solution-based innovation and turn the opportunities of the 21st century into reality. And now, I'd like to introduce His Excellency Haitham Al-Ohali, the Vice Minister of Communications and Information Technology for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the chairman of this roundtable event.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to the Digital Economy Roundtable today. As we all know, the digital economy is full of new opportunities and transformative potential. Already today, it contributes to 16% of the global GDP and has been growing 2.5 times faster than the traditional economy. More recently, the COVID-19 pandemic has further increased the importance of the digital economy and our reliance on digital technologies and solutions. Social distancing policies and travel restrictions have forced all of us to shift much of our social activities online. Our economic activity has also shifted online and has thereby absorbed a substantial fraction of the economic shock that hit the traditional economy. Digital connectivity solutions have allowed global citizens to stay connected with their families and friends throughout the pandemic. The increasing convergence of these technologies, such as 5G, Internet of Things, AI, and big data, will accelerate even further the growth of the digital economy. At the same time, we have seen a new set of challenges emerge as a result of the dissemination of digital technologies. For example, almost half of the world's population remain without sufficient connectivity. Important issues around inclusiveness and human centricity of technologies have also arisen as a result of increasing diffusion of AI and other smart city technologies. As the digital economy evolves quickly, related policies have to keep pace to address all of these challenges, and the failure to do so would be costly from a social and economic perspective. Under the Saudi G20 presidency this year, the Digital Economy Task Force recognized the importance of taking action and addressed many important recent issues. First, we discussed the human centricity and inclusiveness of technologies in AI, smart cities, and advanced security in digital economy. Second, recognizing the importance of data as an enabler of the digital economy, we advanced the discussions on cross-border data flows. And third, we reached important agreements regarding the measurement of digital economy, which will better enable us to design, implement, and review evidence-based policies. The resulting policy outcomes of the Digital Economy Task Force were a great step forward to strengthen our governance for digital technologies and accelerate the transition to the fifth industrial revolution, the revolution of trust and inclusion of digital technologies. Given the borderless nature of digital economy, this evidence-based policy-making process must take place on a multilateral level and closely involve the private sector, civil society, and all related stakeholders. As all countries face the same opportunities and challenges in the digital domain, it is clear that the most powerful means of addressing these is through engaging in discussions that bring together a diverse range of perspectives, such as those in the Digital Economy Roundtable today. The G20 Forum this year is a good example of this approach. as we collectively engaged in dialogue on AI, we brought together global stakeholders to discuss trustworthy AI in a pandemic response. Hence, it is imperative that we continue to engage in a multi-stakeholder discussion to exchange our experiences, best practices, and learn from each other. Finally, I am very excited and looking forward to our discussions today, where we are going to tackle the collaboration with the private sector in our first session. We will focus on enabling and streamlining digital growth, including discussions around the future of work and capital investments required to support the digital economy. Building on this, the second session recognizes the importance of collaboration to promote the flow of ideas and capital across borders, and the encouragement of the innovation to ensure inclusive economic growth. It will therefore focus on the role of government in these areas to promote the digital economy and create an environment in which business can thrive. Before I conclude, I am honored to announce today that Saudi Arabia will be building on this year's Digital Economy Roundtable efforts to establish and lead an annual Digital Economy Forum that will convene on a yearly basis and aims to discuss the key opportunities and challenges that faces the digital economy. This global forum will convene not only governments, but also various stakeholders from around the world to ensure that we, as policymakers, are making sure that we are driving global digital economy towards sustained growth while also ensuring prosperous societies. Allow me now to reveal the identity of the Global Digital Economy Forum, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency Haitham Al-Wahali, for officially welcoming our delegates to the Roundtable. His Excellency mentioned in his remarks the importance of working with stakeholders across the digital ecosystem. Our first Roundtable focuses on one such group, the private sector. Joining us now are leading startup founders from the region. We've brought them to the table for a candid conversation on their role in driving digital transformation. What are the opportunities and challenges they are encountering as they innovate and create new opportunities? And how can these opportunities be made available to all? These are some of the questions I will put to this group. Please welcome Mr. Al-Harith Al-Atabi, the co-founder and Chief Operations Officer of Level Z and Skiplino. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Aisha.
Mr. Abdelhamid Sharara, the co-founder and CEO of Rise Up. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Mr. Rami Al-Kawasmi, the co-founder and CEO of Madhu. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you for having me.
Ms. Noor Budei, the founder and CEO of Dars. A pleasure to have you today.
Thank you, Aisha. The pleasure is mine.
Mr. Khalid Abanami, the co-founder and CEO of Toby. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Ms. Noor Al-Hassan, the CEO of Tarjama AI and founder of URead. A pleasure to have you today.
Thank you, Aisha. A pleasure is mine.
Mr. Al-Harith Al-Atabi, you are the co-founder and Chief Operations Officer of Level Z, which has been called the first startup factory in the region. How do you think governments can better encourage entrepreneurship and boost the technology ecosystem?
First of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for the National Digital Transformation Unit for having such a prestigious event and including entrepreneurs and startups, because they are really at the center of this whole technological boom. So I just wanted to start by saying that. I think the government role is extremely important in fueling the digital economy, especially with driving different regulations, different legislations that allows us to work in a different way. I mean, for many years, we've been working on, all we knew about business is leveraging finance. We buy a product, we make it better, we sell it for more. But now we have something new, we have technology that we can leverage. And by leveraging technology, that allows us to scale quickly and allows us to sell cross borders. I'm here today sitting in Bahrain, our first startup that we launched is Skiplino, and we have clients in more than 190 countries. Actually, 70% of our revenue comes from outside of the GCC region. So this is something that opened up a lot of doors for us. And the government role has really been essential in allowing us to operate differently, because we do need different regulations.
من الصناديق وحقنوا الكثير من التمويل في شركات ناشئة وساعدونا بحق على النمو وعلى تحقيق فرص أو قصص نجاح سنسمعها اليوم. رائع جدا، شكرا لك سيد شرارة. أنت رئيس شاركت في تأسيس شركة تنتج الفعاليات والمحتوى وتعزز التقنية وثقافة الشركات الناشئة. لديك 30,000 منظور أو بصمة على الاقتصاد الرقمي. كيف أثرت جائحة كوفيد-19 على التحول الرقمي الذي كان بالفعل دائر في المنطقة؟ بداية شكرا جزيلا مرة أخرى على دعوتي في هذه بين هؤلاء المؤسسين الرائعين ورواد الأعمال في المنطقة. شكرا جزيلا على إتاحة الفرصة لي. كما ذكرت، أعتقد أن الجميع الآن على دراية بأثر جائحة كوفيد-19 على الاقتصاد بصفة عامة، ولكن مما نراه هذه السنة على وجه التحديد هو أنها سنة إيجابية جدا فيما يتعلق بتسريع الاقتصاد الرقمي، لأنني أعتقد أن الحكومات والمستثمرين والشركات كانت تأمل أن يحدث ذلك منذ 10 أو بعد 10 سنوات أو بعد 20 سنة من الآن، ما كانوا يأملون حدوثه ترى حدوثه نتيجة لهذه السنة. على سبيل المثال هنا في مصر أعتقد أن هنالك شيء شائع جدا، وهو أن التجارة كانت خارج الجانب الافتراضي تماما، وكان تبادل البضائع وغيرها قائم على الجانب الافتراضي. أما الآن فنرى الأكشاك والمتاجر وغيرها من المنافذ تستخدم التطبيقات ووسائل التواصل الافتراضية والرقمية للتواصل مع عملائهم، لأنها أصبحت ضرورة لهذه المنشآت الصغيرة والمتوسطة، وفي النهاية بالطبع العميل أن يستخدموا التقنية في دوائر أعمالهم. لذلك أعتقد أن الجائحة دفعت بذلك الأمر إلى الأمام، وكذلك هذا الأمر كان له أثر هائل على ثقافة تقبل هذا النوع من التقنية، سواء على مستوى الناس وعلى مستوى الشعوب والحكومات، وكل من نتحدث معهم في المنطقة الآن يركزون جهودهم على تسريع هذا الجزء وعلى دعم الشركات لتصبح أكثر وأكثر رقمية. لذلك أعتقد أن الأثر كان إيجابيا على الاقتصاد الرقمي بشكل عام. شكرا جزيلا.
سيد القاسمي، أنت المؤسس المشارك والتي تهدف إلى ضخ المزيد من المحتوى العربي. ما هي الأشياء التي يمكن أن تقدم لكم الدعم أيضا بالنسبة للشراكة بين القطاع العام والقطاع الخاص، أيضا بالنسبة للمرونة في عمليات التصميم؟ شكرا جزيلا عائشة. أعتقد أن المحتوى العربي بشكل عام هنالك ثغرة كبيرة وفجوة كبيرة موجودة على الإنترنت، ونستثمر في هذا المجال في المحتوى بشكل عام، لكن ما زالت هنالك فجوة كبيرة بالنسبة للمحتوى العربي. وأعتقد في هذا الصدد أن الشركات الخاصة يمكن أن تقوم بملء وتجسيد تكسير هذه الفجوة ونعمل مع بعضنا البعض ونتكاتف جهودنا في هذا المجال بغية أيضا تبادل الخبرات وعمليات التمويل، خصوصا في هذا الجزء من العالم ما زلنا نحتاج إلى أن نمضي مزيدا من الجهود في زيادة رفع مستوى المحتوى العربي. عندما يكون لدينا هذا المحتوى بطريقة أو بأخرى في هذا الحال يمكن أن أيضا يكون لدينا البيانات وتفهمين هذه البيانات وتجمعين هذه البيانات والتي نعمل على معالجتها باستخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي. هذا يعني أنه يجب أن نستثمر بقوة كبيرة بالمواهب والمهارات بشكل عام، ونحتاج أيضا إلى أن يكون لدينا هذه البيانات. هذه نقطة، والنقطة الأخرى هي تحليل هذه البيانات. هي نقطة أخرى، إذن يجب أن تعمل الدول مع بعضها وتتكاتف جهودها بما في ذلك الشركات الخاصة والجامعات والمؤسسات والطلاب والحكومات، كلهم ينبغي عليهم أن يعملوا تتكاتف جهودهم في هذا المجال ويزيدون المحتوى العربي المتوفر على الإنترنت وتقديم الدعم والمؤازرة والمساندة لهم لتلقي المزيد من البيانات وتحليلها حيث نريد أن نحقق أهدافنا ونريد أن نصل في المستقبل. شكرا، أنت محق فيما تفضلت به. نعم، والتعليق الذي تفضلت به من النقاط المهمة جدا، وخبرتك أيضا في استخدام بالنسبة للنظام الاقتصادي وأيضا في هذه المنطقة وريادة الأعمال. السيد أيضا نور وهي أيضا شركة ناشئة في الكويت، أخبرينا كيف ترين شركتك الخاصة تستفيد من أيضا التحول الرقمي وقوى التحول الرقمي في المستقبل إن شاء الله. شكرا. رؤية الشركة تسريع عملية التحول والانتقال إلى التعلم الرقمي، ونشعر أن جائحة كوفيد 19 فرضت هذه الرؤية تقريبا على كافة الحكومات في دول العالم، خصوصا دولة الكويت أو حكومة الكويت. ونحن الآن نتحدث والطلاب يدرسون باستخدام المنصات التواصل منصات على بعد، وعلينا أن نتأقلم بالتعلم القائم على الإنترنت، التعلم الرقمي. ونعتقد أيضا هذا هو الوقت، حان الوقت والوقت المناسب بالنسبة للحكومات لتتمكن من أن تتعلم وأن يكون لديها نظاما تعليميا أفضل مما كان عليه في السابق. أنت أتفق وإياك تماما. نعم، هذا الأمر في غاية الأهمية. تطوير المواهب والمهارات مهمة جدا، وهذا يحفز أيضا الاقتصاد الرقمي. السيد أبانمي، أنت مؤسس مشاركة لثوبي وشركة استثمارية أيضا تعطي حيث يكون للعملاء باستخدام التقنيات ما هي الأشياء ما هي التحديات التي تواجهوننا بما في ذلك مزيج التقنيات الحديثة مع الأشياء القديمة والتقليدية. نعم، في ثوبي حقيقة نحن نقدم هذه خدمة الخياطة والتفصيل، ونعمل على رفع هذا المستوى باستخدام التقنيات الحديثة أيضا للوصول إلى متطلبات العميل أكثر من يكون مما في السابق. ونتطلع في هذه الشركة أيضا مهارة جديدة في استخدام الاقتصاد الرقمي وأيضا العمليات والتي أيضا والعمليات قمنا بتنفيذها، والآن نتحول من التعاملات الفيزيائية المادية الجسدية إلى التحولات الرقمية، وهذا نوع جديد من العمل والاستثمار. وأعتقد في هذا الصدد أيضا ونحاول أيضا نقوم بخلق هذا التغيير أيضا في هذه الصناعة. إذا أعتقد من المهم جدا عندما نفكر أيضا من منظور دستوري قانوني أن التحول الاقتصادي مهم جدا، لأنه يخلق نماذج اقتصادية، نماذج استثمارية جديدة، ليس لأنه موروث جديد أو تشريعات جديدة يمكن أيضا تطبيقها في الصناعات التقليدية. إذا أعتقد أن هذا النقطة مهمة جدا، كيف يمكن أن نتأقلم مع ذلك وكيف يمكن لهذه الشركة أيضا كشركة سواء كنا نعمل في استخدام التقنية في عمليات الخياطة والتفصيل أيضا نقوم بهذه المجالات، وهي عناصر مهمة جدا بالنسبة لنا حتى نحقق النجاح في نماذج مختلفة نعمل. ما الذي نعنيه أيضا أن نكون ناجحين في ذلك، ما ألا نكون تقليديين في تقديم الخدمات بالنسبة للشركات أو النظم الأخرى المختلفة. إذن أعتقد بالنسبة لنا من المهم جدا كمشرعين أيضا أن ننظر إلى هذه الشركات، ننظر إلى هذه الشركات التي بدأت تعتمد على أنظمة هجينة وتنظر إلى حياتها بمستوى مختلف أكثر حيوية من حيث أيضا تعديل النقاط الأساسية أو الجوهرية في نماذج الأعمال، والذي لا تقوم بتقييد القوى والإمكانيات الموجودة. أحببت ما تفضلت به، الفكرة نعم الشركات الهجينة، وكلكم حقيقة وطريقة أخرى تأخذون هذا المنحى، أيضا تضخون عمليات التغيير خصوصا، وهذا ما يتطلب أيضا بالنسبة للشباب والمهارات والمواهب وحتى يلعبوا دورا مهما جدا، خصوصا فيما وجدناه في ظل كوفيد-19. السيدة نور، وهي المديرة التنفيذية لترجمة ومؤسسة لهذه الشركة، شركتكم تم تأسيسها بكل بساطة لأنك لم تكوني قادرة على إيجاد المهارات المطلوبة والمناسبة. السؤال هو: ما هو أثر التحول الرقمي على قوى العمل لليوم ولغد؟ شكرا عائشة على هذا السؤال. الأثر حقيقة في مناطق 4 أو مجالات 4. لو نظرت أيضا عملية الأتمتة التي نشهدها، كلنا نعرف أن الأتمتة ستعمل على تقييد الكثير من الأعمال والفرص الوظيفية، ولكن أيضا ستعمل على خلق الكثير من الفرص. كلنا نسمع أن الأتمتة تعني ببساطة أن المزيد من الأشخاص يفقدون أعمالهم، لكن وهنالك تقرير أيضا الشهر الاستغناء عنها، لكن هذا يعني أيضا أن هناك الملايين من الأعمال ستبصر النور ونقطف ثمارها في المستقبل القريب. إذا تخيلت على سبيل المثال كيف يمكن أن نصف وآلية العمل في المستقبل، ستكون وبكل بساطة مثمرة مجدية، لأن البشر أيضا سيتطلب منهم القيام بالكثير من الأعمال التي لها معنى التي تعتمد على المهارات. سأسوق لك بعض الأمثلة البسيطة ما الذي نقوم به هنا في داخل هذه الشركة. عندما نستخدم الذكاء الاصطناعي أجهزة من الناحية الفنية فقط لتقديم الدعم والمساعدة لمترجمين لتسريع آلية العمل، إضافة إلى ذلك أيضا لرفع مستوى عبقريتهم وقدراتهم الإبداعية والابتكارية، أفضل من أن يمضوا المزيد من الوقت في ترجمة النقطة الأخرى أو المجال الآخر هو حتما وبدون أدنى شك أيضا إعادة هندسة وتصميم هذه المهارات من المهم جدا. إضافة إلى ذلك أيضا على رفع مستوى التطوير والتنمية، خصوصا للموظفين الذي يتطلب منهم أيضا إعادة النظر في المهارات بما في ذلك الذكاء الاصطناعي والذكاء الإدراكي، دون أن نقوم برفع مستوى هذه المهارات والنظر فيها مرة أخرى لن نستطيع أن نطور العمل. المجال الثالث أيضا هو العمل الحر. إذن كما تعرفون الاستبيان الذي أجري بحق الشباب العرب أيضا في بداية 2020 يشير إلى أنه بحلول 2030 سيكون لدينا حوالي 3% من زيادة رغبة الناس في العمل في أي عمل كان بشكل حر. هذا يعني أن الشركات والحكومات عليها أن تتأقلم وتتبنى هذا التوجه وهذا النموذج، لأن التنظيمات والتشريعات حتى للشركات في كثير منها ستغير. هذا جائحة كورونا أيضا أثبتت أن الكثير منا حقيقة لم نكن جاهزين ومستعدين لذلك. كلنا أخذتنا الغرة عندما أيضا عصفت بالعالم، وأيضا لم نكن جاهزين ولن نعود إلى المكان كما تعرفون، كما والحال مثل كريمة وغيرها وحتى الشركات العملاقة العالمية. إذن هناك المزيد من الفرص التي ستبصر النور وأيضا ستغير مسار العمل ومسار الذكاء الاصطناعي، وكيف يمكن أن يكون العمل وكيف يمكن أن نتخيل العمل في المستقبل. إضافة أتفق وإياك حق تماما، هذه الفكرة مهمة جدا. سواء كان الأتمتة تقوم بخلق الوظائف أو إنهاء العمل، يجب أن نتأقلم مع ذلك أيضا، خصوصا مع الشركات الناشئة. وهنالك الكثير من الفرص التي ستبصر النور والتي أيضا ستقطف ثمارها بالنسبة لهذه الشركات، وأعتقد أن هذه نقاط مهمة جدا وعلينا أن نستفيد منها ونستغل هذه الفرص. السيد شرارة، كيف يمكن لهذه الدول أن تعمل على رفع مستوى القوى الجماعية بما في ذلك الجهود الجامعات، وتركز أيضا على المستقبل أيضا بالنسبة للاقتصاد الرقمي؟ هذا سؤال في غاية الروعة. أعتقد أن كل حكومة كل متحدث يمكن أن يجيب على هذا السؤال. من الطرق التي يمكن أن أراها على سبيل المثال كيف تقوم هذه الشركات، بالنسبة لي أولا من خلال الشركات القائمة بين القطاع العام والقطاع الخاص. إذن يجب أن يكون هنالك المزيد من الشركات في التقنية. كما تعرفون هناك كثير من الشباب الذين تتمخض أفكارهم عن مزيد من الأعمال بما في ذلك سلسلة التوريد وغيرها، والشركات العملاقة أيضا من حيث تقديم المصادر. هذه النقطة الثانية أو الطريقة الأخرى من خلال هذه المشكلات التي نواجهها أيضا في هذا القرن 21 هنالك حلول أيضا يمكن أن ننظر فيها في لدى الحكومات، أيضا يجب أن تتكاتف جهودها مع بعضها البعض أيضا، ومن خلال العصف أيضا الاعتماد على المصادر الخارجية لهذه الأفكار لحلول هذه أو الوضع حلول هذه التحديات. ويمكن أن يكون هناك منصة لسد الرأب والثغرة الموجودة طبعا بناء على المستوى الحكومي الذي والشباب وإشراك الشباب أيضا الذين تتمخض أفكارهم على الكثير من الحلول الرائعة والابتكارية والتي يمكن تمويلها أيضا من الحكومة أو من جهات خاصة. إضافة إلى ذلك، وهذه طبعا جزئية مهمة جدا، النقطة الثالثة والأخيرة كما رأينا أيضا وكما هو الحال في سيليكون فاليو أيضا في هذه المنطقة بعض من هذه الاستثمار أيضا والمنتجات الثنائية أو المهجينة، وأيضا ضخ الأموال المزيدة في خصوصا لدى الشركات كما الحال مثلا كريم أو سوق مثلا، والشركة الرائعة جدا والشركات الأخرى التي كلها تحل الكثير من المشاكل التي لها أثر اجتماعي على المجتمعات، وهو عمل أيضا سيجعل حياة الناس أفضل وأكثر وخبراتهم أفضل وأفضل ويرفع مستوى الحياة الاجتماعية كدول وكحكومات. إذن أعتقد أن الاستثمار مهم جدا ويستحق العناء ويستحق النظر فيه أيضا لرفع مستوى التركيز في الاقتصاد والاستثمار. شكرا، هذه الأفكار مهمة جدا لما تفضلت به، خلق هذه المنصة لاستقطاب أفكار الشباب، ويمكن أن تكون أيضا نقطة انطلاق، ويمكن أيضا أن تكون منهجية تعتمد على التشريعات وخلق هذه الشراكات ما بين القطاع العام والقطاع الخاص كما تفضلت وكما أوصيت. وهذا أيضا أريد أن أسأل السيد أبانمي، هل لديك بعض التعليقات على هذه الفكرة؟ كيف يمكن لهذه الدول أن تقوم باستقطاب هذه الشركات التي تعتمد على المواهب والمهارات لاستخدام التقنيات المتقدمة؟ أعتقد بالنسبة لي مفهوم التنسيق والتعاون والانسجام مهم جدا. ما الذي يعنيه بذلك؟ بكل بساطة من المهم جدا أن يكون النظام التعليمي والمواهب الموجودة لدينا يجب أن تكون أيضا منسجمة متسقة أيضا مع عملية التطوير التقنيات الحديثة. إضافة إلى ذلك أيضا الجانب البحثي والتطويري الذي يركز على المتطلبات والحاجات الأساسية على سبيل المثال من وجهة نظر تعليمية هنالك طلب متزايد بالنسبة للمهارات المتعلقة بالتحول الرقمي خصوصا للعلوم وجوانب الهندسة الحاسوبية والهندسة الكهربائية والتصميم التصميم الجرافيكي. كل هذه المصادر مهمة جدا، وهذه المصادر للبحث والتطوير سواء كان ذلك في المؤسسات البحثية أو حتى في القطاع الخاص أو مؤسسات القطاع الخاص أيضا الشركات التقنية المالية كلها تعمل على أيضا إبراز الوجوه الجديدة، وأيضا يكون لدينا المراكز البحثية التي تقوم بأيضا إجراء هذه البحوث وهذه التقنيات وتحويل هذه التقنيات إلى أشياء مفيدة، وهذا سيساعد أيضا الشركات التقنية أيضا أن تستفيد من البحوث والتطوير أيضا والتركيز على عملية التطوير وتطوير هذه المهارات الجديدة، وتساعدهم أيضا على أن يعملوا على تطوير نماذج الأعمال بما هو موجود، وتساعد أيضا أن يكون أيضا على المستوى العالمي وعلى مستوى التنافس. مهم جدا أن يكون هناك تنسيق وانسجام بالنسبة للنتائج والمخرجات أيضا لهذه العناصر المختلفة. أحببت ما تفضلت به، هذه الفكرة الجميلة. نعم، التنسيق والتعاون والانسجام، نعم، ويجب أن نعالج ذلك من خلال منهجية معينة، وإلا سنفقد جزءا مهما جدا من حيث التطوير والابتكار والإبداع في هذا المجال. السيدة نور، ما هي التحسينات الخاصة أيضا بالنسبة للتحول الرقمي أو البنى التحتية الرقمية التي يمكن أن تتحدثين عنها؟ شكرا عائشة. حقيقة نحن محظوظين جدا في الكويت بين الاقتصاديات كما تعرفون الذي نعتمد أيضا فيها لدينا عملية بالمستوى عالي جدا، وأيضا في المنطقة. إذا الكويت كاقتصاد لديها مؤسسة أو تأسيس كبير جدا في هذا المجال. لا أريد أن أضيف ما تفضل به زملائي عن الشراكة بين القطاع العام والقطاع الخاص. إذا أردنا أن يكون لدينا اقتصادا مستقلا، علينا أن نقوم بتمكين القطاع الخاص في المستقبل. القطاع الخاص في المستقبل أيضا سيكون لديها الكثير من الشركات الناشئة، ستتسارع خطاها أيضا في التحول الرقمي والتأقلم. إذا الحكومات عليها أن تعمل أيضا مع الشركات الناشئة، ولا ألا تقوم بإقصائها في مكان بعيد. أيضا علينا أن نقوم بتمكين هذه الشركات الناشئة في بلدنا. أعتقد هذه أيضا المستقبل أيضا سيعتمد كثيرا على الشركات الناشئة، هذا ما تتفضلون به. إضافة إلى ذلك أعتقد أيضا لربما يكون هذا ممكنا أيضا إلى أخذ هذه الأشكال المختلفة، والعلاقة أيضا يجب أن تكون مناسبة لهذه العلاقة ما بين الشركات الناشئة والحكومة. أيضا أعود إليك، ما هي الأشياء التي ينبغي أن تركز عليها من حيث الجوانب التشريعية والتنظيمية؟ حقيقة حتى أكون واضحا معك بشكل عام في هذا المجال، إذا أردنا أن نقوم بدعم الشركات الناشئة علينا أن نوجد طريقة أو أخرى كيف يمكن أن تتمخض أفكارنا وأعمالنا وجهودنا. على سبيل المثال تشريعات تنظيمية إقليمية لكل دولة من الدول، لأننا إذا لم ينتهي بنا المطاف في دعم وتطوير هذه الشركات الناشئة من حيث التنظيم والتشريع والدستور، من حيث أيضا الاستفادة من هذه المواهب، بأن الشركات الأخرى من خارج المنطقة ستأتي وتحصد، لأن الأمر صار أسهل بكثير في واقع الأمر أيضا، وتحاول أن أيضا أن تحل هذه المشاكل في هذه المنطقة. إذن علينا أن نعمل تتكاتف جهودنا ضمن تشريع في الأردن، في منطقة دول الخليج، أو في أي منطقة أخرى في العالم العربي. أعتقد أيضا أنه يمكننا في واقع الأمر حل هذه المشاكل. شكرا. أتفق وإياك. السيد دالي، ما هي التحسينات بالنسبة للبنى الرقمي من حيث أيضا رفع مستوى التمويل والتسريع أيضا عملية الأتمة في بلدكم؟ أعتقد لأجيب على هذا السؤال علي أن أجيبها بطريقة مختلفة.
When we try to implement that, what we do is we go look for the best practice on a global level and try to copy that, bring it to our region. And that process is very slow. And these regulations are not always best fit for our society, for the way we work, for our business environments. So that's one challenge I'm seeing a lot today. I think what we need to do is really have a regulatory framework that's extremely agile, that actually regulators can come and sit down with entrepreneurs, sit down with startups, just like what we're doing here today, and constantly evolve, constantly change the regulation to suit us, to suit our needs, not what startups are facing globally, but what startups are facing here in the region. We are able to do that and really address the needs as they come immediately. I think that will be something that we can, that will really help us, move forward quickly. Another thing would be, I've seen a lot of countries introduce things like regulatory sandboxes where companies can come and set up a business and really test their ideas and see what happens. The challenge with that as well is that it's only constricted to the market that they have access to. So I'm in Bahrain and I'm signing up to our regulatory sandbox. I only have access to the Bahraini market. If I'm setting up in Saudi, I only have access to the Saudi market. So we need to also start cocooning in each individual market and have some sort of regulatory sandbox that I can connect with all of the Arab countries. I think that will also help us a lot. When it comes to funding, I know we can sit here and talk about it for hours, but if I have to choose one topic that I would talk about is, I think one of the biggest challenges or mistakes we're doing is that, yes, we're putting a lot of funds into the market, we're investing a lot into startups, but we're chopping it up. So we're introducing huge funds and then we're giving small amounts to different startups. I cannot give someone $50,000 and expect them to make $2 or $3 million of revenue each year. If I want to create those kind of startups, I need to make more funding available. I need to make more bigger tickets available. Because all I'm doing right now is I'm attracting entrepreneurs who are probably fresh graduates. They just got out of university, so they want to start up with small capitals, while I need to be attracting people, more seasoned entrepreneurs. We've seen that on a global level, the average age of really successful entrepreneurs is actually above 40. And these guys are typically have more experience, they require more funds, they require, better financial support. So, and of course, this topic we can go on and on about it, and I'm sure my panelists here have other comments about it, but I think those are the main things that I would focus on.
Thank you. I think that makes a lot of sense. The idea of having sandboxes is very powerful. And I think the Series A, Series B crunch of funding continues to be a problem in markets that are just developing venture capital for startups. And we in Singapore and Southeast Asia have also faced this crunch. So I think this is very valid, and to have very big companies, you do need to provide precisely that kind of funding. I don't know if Ms. Hassan, this is something that I also want to kind of ask you. Part of the understanding of skills is also, what kind of skills are important for the workforce of the future in particular? Is it creativity? Is it tech skills? Is it business skills? Are they some skills that you think are very, very important and that really should be started in the education system itself as well?
Absolutely. So whether it's creative or technical, definitely STEM education is very important. Engineering, technology is crucial. Like creative skills are vital as well. The issue we have today that there's a huge disconnect between the education system and what the market needs. So if you want to hire engineers, you have to hire engineers that got educated with actually old material, old curriculum that's outdated. This space is very rapid when it comes to change. So you study something today and you study a language that changes completely tomorrow. What needs to happen is there has to be a dialogue between the educators and between what the market needs. And there has to be some way like where the government can incentivize companies to reskill engineers or reskill talent. You can't rely only on the universities, and you don't have to only be a computer science grad to find a job. So you can eventually look at the talent that graduated today and can't find jobs and reskill this talent into something that the market needs. So there has to be a way where the market speaks to the educators, and there has to be a way where the government interferes by giving incentives to private sector to reskill the needs they actually require. This is something that we've been trying to do internally, to be honest. We tap into boot camps today and get fresh grads from them, not only from universities.
That's very interesting, and that's what we see now, precisely as you were saying, that actually more than just theory and theoretical degrees, bachelor's, master's, more and more companies are looking for skill certificates, and they can come from anywhere, basically. And the private sector has a very strong role in being at the cutting edge of innovation. As all of you are developing your companies and have some great startups, I want to now kind of talk about the next 10 years. For example, Mr. Abanami, where do you see your company in 10 years?
Wow, that's such a difficult question. I think as a startup, you're constantly exploring, right? Exploring new types of business models. You're testing new types of business models. You're analyzing the types of new technologies that are moving the needle, for innovation, etc. Obviously, our objective is we are a company that is focused on delivering, kind of fast, instant, service to customers that want tailored clothing, right? So, for us, a key input for that is not only the kind of the technological excellence and working on our internal IP to make sure that we have the right, levels of accuracy when we extract measurements, but also it's critical to always think about the customer experience, right, end to end. So this is not just about, you do the best engineering, etc. It's about, how can I develop the best value proposition that can compete regionally or globally? And here you need to think about so many elements, right? Everything from kind of the product design to, even kind of the endpoint delivery and kind of your logistics partners and how fast can they deliver and how reliable they can deliver. So I think it's difficult, honestly, to anticipate what's going to happen in 10 years. As a startup, you're constantly just focusing on kind of making sure that you're evolving correctly, you're making the right investments, and that you're designing your value proposition in a way that can be profitable and scalable going forward. So that's the best answer I can offer. But I think the constant is there's always change. Emerging technologies are constantly introducing kind of new curveballs, right, in the market. And I think as emerging technology evolves, as kind of new opportunities and challenges will be ahead of us. And I think this is the best answer I can provide on that question.
I think it's a great answer, and it speaks to what all of you have been saying. It's about customer centricity. Well, thank you so much to all our speakers for joining us today. It was an amazing panel. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot, and I look forward to following all your companies in the future. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you, Derek.
The previous panel addressed the opportunities presented by the digital economy from a private sector perspective. Before we move to our ministerial panel, I would like to take a moment for a bit of a palate cleanser. In the course of our work, we came across a handful of stark statistics that speak to the current state of the digital economy. Most of us are familiar with the statistics coming out of the US and China, the two biggest players in the digital economy. These two countries alone account for 75% of all patents related to blockchain technologies, 50% of global spending on IoT, and more than 75% of the world market for public cloud computing. And perhaps most strikingly, they account for 90% of the market capitalization of the world's 70 largest digital platforms. So while it is true that currently the advantages of the digital economy accrue to a tiny minority, the digital economy has great potential to improve the lives of those in the least developed countries looking to unlock the benefits of technology. For instance, in sub-Saharan Africa, it is estimated that there will be 230 million digital jobs by 2030 that could generate $20 billion in revenue, requiring some 650 million training opportunities by 2030. We know that digital transformation holds great promise and opportunity for communities across the globe. Through wise policies, bold initiatives, and cooperation, vibrant and sustainable digital economies can flourish around the world. Welcome to our second roundtable. Picking up on the observations and insights shared during the previous session, this panel of distinguished digital ministers and representatives of non-governmental organizations will speak the role of the public sector in advancing an inclusive and sustainable digital future. How are countries preparing for a robust and sustainable digital economy of the future? And how will these plans and preparations become reality? It is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished panel. His Excellency Abdullah Al-Swaha, the Minister of Communications and Information Technology for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. A pleasure to have you. His Excellency Borga Brende, President of the World Economic Forum. Thank you for joining us today. His Excellency Hu Lin Zhao, the Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union. Wonderful to have you with us. His Excellency Salim Al-Odena, the Chairman of the Board and Chief Executive Officer of the Communication and Information Technology Regulatory Authority for the State of Kuwait. Thank you for joining. And His Excellency Ahmed Hanande, the Minister of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship for the Kingdom of Jordan. Glad to have you today. Your Excellency Minister Al-Swaha, could you please share your thoughts on how growth in the digital economy can be accelerated to speed up the recovery of the global economy post-COVID-19?
Thank you, Dr. Aisha, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome His Excellency Borge Zhao, Salim, and His Excellency Ahmed. It's an absolute pleasure to join with you here today in the Global Digital Economy Forum for some historic announcements that will follow on today. Dr. Aisha, just to go back to your question, if there's one thing that we have learned from 2020 is that economies are as strong as their respective digital economy and as resilient as their people, and when it comes to their perseverance and passion. We must bounce back stronger from 2020 because we're looking today at an analog world that is so polarized, an analog world that there is so much deglobalization. 75% of the global supply chains were disrupted. We're looking at a global economic contraction of negative 4.5%, jobs of close to 350 million jobs. We must take action today. And this is why in the Global Digital Economy Forum, we're bringing like-minded nations and international organizations to connect, to start a dialogue and a conversation for a digital cooperation. A cooperation to realize a digital future for all, on how we can empower women, youth, entrepreneurs, how can we grow the digital economy, and how can we leapfrog with innovation. On empowering women, we have seen the data and the facts from ITU and WEF. The moment you double down on women and you have equal participation between women and men, you see positive growth. As a matter of fact, anywhere from adding $2 to $3 trillion to the global economy. In Saudi Arabia, we have seen it firsthand. For the past 3 years consecutively, where we have grown from 9% women participation to 23% in 2020, surpassing the EU average. For 3 years consecutively, we have grown anywhere from 2 to 3x the base economy from a non-oil GDP perspective. As a matter of fact, these initiatives, among others, as acknowledged by the World Economic Forum, and the Digital Competitiveness Center of the EU to make Saudi Arabia the #1 digital riser among the G20. On youth and entrepreneurship, if you look at the hard facts, in the first half of 2020, we have seen the same amount of deal size and volume than what we have seen in 2019 combined, where the flourishment of fintech, AI, and cybersecurity have fueled resiliency and growth in 2020, where it was the lifeline for our kids to continue education beyond the classroom, for our loved ones to receive care beyond ICU rooms, and for digital payments to be the lifeline of SMEs and entrepreneurship. And we're talking about growing the digital. Again, look at the percentages. If you want double digits and triple digits growth, you have to see the trade flows. Historically, the digital economy used to be west to west, from Western Europe to Northern America. Today, the growth is between the East and the West. And the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, among its strategic allies, brothers, and partners, we are at the center of attention. As a matter of fact, the 5 nations represented here with us today have an opportunity to seize in the next couple of years $1 trillion worth of a digital economy. And if we want to talk about leapfrogging with innovation, under Vision 2030, we have launched a national digital agenda, and we have launched the future city of NEOM. In NEOM, we are solving for the critical things. We're solving for bringing down the economics of green and sustainable photons, electrons, and hydrogen as part of our responsibility as the thermal energy leader in the world to make sure that we power things on the grid in a green and sustainable manner. And for things that cannot be powered with a lithium battery, we're bringing the economics down of green hydrogen. We're very proud today in the digital economy, in the Global Digital Economy Forum, to bring, again, like-minded nations and organizations to join hands together to realize a digital future for all by empowering women, youth, and entrepreneurs, by growing our combined digital economy and leapfrog with innovation.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Minister Al-Swaha, for your vision of a digital future for all. Your Excellency, Mr. Brende, how can global alliances build sustainability and inclusion into the digital economy?
Thank you so much for the question. Also, I would like to acknowledge Minister Abdullah Al-Swaha at the outset. Thank you for your leadership and also for bringing us today. Kudos for what the Kingdom has shown when it comes to the importance of the digital economy. And we know that there are so many opportunities when it comes to also inclusive and also sustainable and job-creating growth if you have the right focus when it comes to a digital economy. We are in the middle of a health crisis, and we have to deal with the health crisis everywhere. Then we have to have a recovery. The recovery will come sooner if you also have a digital focus. And thirdly, we also need to invest for the future, and we have to invest in the right digital competences and the right digital developments moving forward. And the World Economic Forum, we see a clear correlation between those nations that do right skilling, upskilling of its youth in the digital field. As the minister also mentioned, the digital economy now is 25% of the global economy, and it is growing very, very fast. Just the last 7-8 months, we have seen an increase, for example, on use of the internet, on also e-trade with close to 50%. And this is not going to stop. It's just going to accelerate moving forward. But what we have to make sure is that also the fourth industrial revolution with its technologies like artificial intelligence, big data, fintech, works in the interest of humankind. And we know in the digital economy and the platform economy, it has a tendency of the winner takes it all. We also have to make sure that the fourth industrial revolution technologies work in the interest of the developing world, but also of emerging economies, so they can leapfrog in this respect. And we know the development goes really, really fast. It took 75 years to get 100 million people connected when it comes to the traditional telephones. If you remember those that were the landlines. It took a little bit more than a decade to have 2.7 billion people part of the smartphones. And this is what we're going to see now when it comes to e-commerce. We're going to see it in new areas. So what we have to make sure is that these new technologies then bind the world together and is not part of a geopolitical situation that is deteriorating. We have to make sure that the technologies support also the sustainable development goals, eradicating all extreme poverty by 2030, but also by empowering young people, as the minister also alluded to, women, and make sure that the world will move forward in a very constructive way based on these new technologies, because they can be also the way forward when it comes to also making sure that we build stronger resilience, making sure that we don't end up with new pandemics and also have blind spots that we are not addressing. Shukran, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brende, for your comments on the importance of inclusivity. And now I would like to ask Your Excellency, Mr. Zhao, what is needed to improve multilateral policy cooperation on tech regulation and investment?
Thank you very much. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
I think that this COVID-19 gives us a very good lesson. People may take ICT's infrastructure services developed so far as granted, so that the people don't see why they should worry about the ICT, and that all of a sudden COVID-19 put us all at home and teleworking, and it seems to be everything is marvelous. We can do that immediately, but actually this is 2 decades effort by our administrations, by our private sectors, by investors, by experts to have this ICT developed so far. And for all this benefit we talked about today, that is good for those connected. And we still have half population not connected yet. So that if we want to have the situation be further improved, we need a very good cooperation among all of us. And I think that here, the public-private partnership is absolutely important. And we should encourage the private sector to further invest in the ICT, because today we know that the majority or the major part of investment in ICT are coming from private sector. And if you look at the digital divide, still you see those countries who really mobilize the public and private together, and seem to be moving faster and better. Those who heavily rely on private sector, not doing something enough from a public sector, then I think that they have difficulties. So that is something is quite deep. Of course, we talked a lot about the summit, information society. We talked a lot about the fourth industrialization, of our society, and we talked a lot about ICT. Now we understand what ICT means for all of us, and this is quite important. And then, if we continue to do business as we have done so far, definitely will not be enough. It will not be good, and we cannot really bring those not connected to be connected in 10 years' time, because we said that by 2030 we should have everybody connected. You will not be able to reach that goal by 2030 if we do the business like now. So everybody have to come together to work on the good environment to attract the investment. So that is one thing. Another thing is, with this COVID-19, we also understand that to leave this to the ICT ministers only will not work neither. And we have to mobilize everybody to work. And then that is the government. They have to realize that if you do not have a holistic, this kind of approach, you leave every ministry to do their business by separate their own budget to do their improvement with ICT. I think that will not be nice. It will not be smart. It will not be best. So you have to get everybody come together to look at the situation. How can we, have a national strategy to get everybody work together with a focus on ICT? So I think that with COVID-19, with the host by the Saudi Arabia chairmanship, IT was very pleased. The first time this year, I was invited to participate not only ICT minister meetings. I was invited to go to the health minister meetings. I was invited to go to, financial minister meetings. So everybody realized that the ICT is quite important. Now that is something good. So we have to take this opportunity to really to move, to the right direction with a smart policy. And of course, when you come to this point, you also know that cybersecurity is very important. With the data applications now everywhere, how can you make sure that those applications be safe? And how can you encourage further applications by ICTs, like financial applications, operations, and the trade applications, even the commercial applications, and for ICT applications for agriculture, for energy, for education. So all this, I think that we are also facing our challenges. So we encourage our regulators to work with the other sectors to try to create a good environment to facilitate the ICT development. And here, I think that Saudi's attention to this important situation by inviting so many different minister meetings with participation of ITU is a very good sign that Saudi realize that this is something we have to move this way. So that is the first thing I like to also take the opportunity to applaud Saudi's presidents of G20 this year. They have not missed any opportunity. The other thing is I like to highlight. We have all this good statement and a good declaration, good action, but we need someone to push to go ahead. And if we leave this kind of statement as a word, without the actions to be followed, you will not see much changes. The situation will stay more or less the same as before. So again, here I also appreciate the initiative from our Excellency Minister, Mr. Abdullah Sawaha, sorry, that he invited like-minded people to come to have organizations to try to push, to push something happen, and he like to see concrete result, like to see progress, and that he gave me trouble last year. He asked me publicly, and the Secretary General, you said you don't leave anybody behind. Can you tell me when? I never got such kind of question in the public. And then he asked by 2030, can we have everybody be connected? I was very embarrassed. I said, no, I'm afraid I cannot. Because with that kind of environment over the last few years, the connectivity rate is somehow slowed down. Because no profit to go to the poor area to get the investment is there. And then that, this COVID-19 give us opportunity that everybody realize how important ICT is, and everybody realize how important to connect everybody. Everybody realize that we really have to work together in a multilateralism and global corporations. Everybody, come to this point. So let's just follow Secretary, the Excellency, the Minister's good example. We should take actions. We should go to push for the development. So thank you very much to give me opportunities to come to this. I like to conclude my short, not so short, remarks by my priorities of 4 I's. Infrastructure to extend infrastructure to connect those not connected yet. We need a huge effort. And then to upgrade the current infrastructure from the current technology to higher technology with 5G, cloud computing, that blockchain, artificial intelligence. We need to work hard to also. So infrastructure is the first and the most important for us. And then it's investment. You need an investment. You need a huge investment. And then we cannot rely fully to the private sector. We have to create a good environment. We also have to make best use of our public funds to be put at the right place to make the best effect. Then innovation is important. Innovation is not necessarily for the technologies. Innovation is also for our policies. Now you have to get a smart policy, and then innovation is not necessarily coming from big guys. Innovation can come from small, medium-sized entrepreneurs. So this kind of source of innovation will really change things, because these people know technology, know market, know they have a very strong desire to connect the local community with new technology, with their own applications and own services. So that we have to work with them. And then last I is inclusiveness. We should not leave anybody behind. And in particular, for those disabled people, for aged people, particularly aged people, that they don't know the skills of e-commerce, e-applications, and we should not leave them behind. And we have to help them. So these are 4 I's I like to highlight. And let me repeat: infrastructure, investment, innovation, and inclusiveness. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zhao, for your remarks. Your Excellency, Mr. Aldona, can you share with us what strengths and weaknesses were exposed by the global health emergency of 2020?
Thank you so much, Dr. Aisha. What weaknesses and strength in digital infrastructures were exposed by the global health during the pandemic? New strength and weaknesses were exposed, some which were not expected, while other we are ready for. As a regulator, we strive to create a welcoming environment led by fair potentials and driven by innovation, ensuring a solid digital infrastructures. One major thrift was the initiative of Kuwait IX, Kuwait Internet Exchange, and the large investment made in the 5G infrastructure in Kuwait. Kuwait IX is the first natural IXP in Kuwait created by Citra to promote a health traffic flow in the country in 2019. Therefore, in 2020, when every single resident in Kuwait was online at the same time, something that was never expected before, assuming a high amount of data, Kuwait was a pillar of succeed in digital infrastructures. Further, in 2019, Kuwait was one of the worldwide to launch commercial 5G service with the coverage second high worldwide. Therefore, during the high traffic period, traffic was well adjusted between 3G and 4G and 5G network, allowing for better customer experience. The high availability of the 5G network further assistance improving quality of service and the new way of working digital from home. People stay connected and service was not interrupted by a high value of traffic. The downfall was even through Kuwait has one of the highest access and usage indicated worldwide with 19.7% use of the internet. There was lack of government health applications and records. This was quickly overcome by partnering with the private sector to private digital solutions such as Shlonik, an app at allowing the Ministry of Health to engage and assist a resident during the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Minister Al-Odena, for your remarks on this subject. And now I will turn to Your Excellency Minister Hanande. What is your government's plan for investing in educating, training, and reskilling workers for the digital economy?
Thank you, Aisha. Your Excellencies, first I want to thank the organizers of this and allowing us to talk about our strategies, plans, and what's going on in our countries. To answer you, Aisha, I attended an event the other day conducted by the Netherlands government, which is called Youth at Heart. And when I joined, I said, youth are at heart, at our strategies, at the heart of our strategies, at our own hearts, at the hearts of our policies, at the heart of our His Majesty King Abdullah, and they are at the heart of everybody. And we are strong believers that the development of each and every country is simply a result of its youth, dreams, ambitions, and their actually hard work towards achieving these dreams and ambitions. Our job as a government, as regulators, or as a policymakers, just to give them the right environment and ecosystem and regulatory framework and policies for them to excel and find their way out, their way through the journey. No doubt that the world has been living dramatic change due to the technology transformation and the digital transformation taking place. The cultures are changing, the mentality is changing, and everything is changing. And then we got this pandemic and the spread of the coronavirus to tell us that you're not fast enough and you need to get faster. Your people are not skilled enough and you need to get them more skillful. Changes are happening so fast. And to be honest, with all the pain that this pandemic brought to us, it brought in opportunities to our youth. It brought in, it caused a culture change in the lifestyle of people, and it changed the lifestyle of people, and people became more dependent on technology, more dependent on the online world, and that brought the challenge on our table is that we need to play the role of balancing the supply and demand and filling the gap in terms of the right skills that our youth need to have to be able to cope up and adapt to the change. And we're doing this through multiple projects, multiple initiatives, and multiple programs. Our ministry is the ministry that is responsible for the digital transformation, where actually we're building up the infrastructure that is data-driven and citizen-centric, and that is an enabler for the innovation of our own startups, innovators, and youth, providing them with the right environment for them to achieve their own, to transform their own ideas into sustainable projects. At the other side, we're doing we're launching multiple initiatives that has to do with getting the youth ready, either while they are at the stage of education or straight after graduation. One of the projects I want to highlight that we're doing and we launched a while back is the Youth Technology and Jobs project. And this project is specifically dedicated to the upskilling of the youth at all their stages, cooperating with the Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Higher Education, plus so many other stakeholders. And the target is to train tens of thousands of youth on the digital skills. In addition to supporting the startups, SMEs, and the large organizations, and incentivize them actually to scale up and grow and open markets for them. Last but not least is to help support the ministry efforts towards the digital transformation, where when it comes to our digital transformation, we're planning, as I said, we want to be a data-driven. We're actually reviewing our strategy to be a data-driven, citizen-centric. Our job is to enable the digital transformation and not to own it. So we're going to provide the platforms, the policies, the procedures, the incentives to accelerate the digital transformation. Additionally, you cannot achieve digital transformation without the right process, the right regulations, and you cannot achieve it without the right team and the right skillful people who can do that for us. And this is exactly what we're trying to do, to build all our strategies towards having all these four solid, well-developed, and people are the backbone of this, and they're going to be the main focus of our attention. We're proud to be the homeland of so many successful projects that managed to grow regionally and internationally, and that was actually the efforts of our own youth. They actually pushed us to change the direction of our strategy towards building on their achievements. I thank them for that. There's so many, I cannot count them. There are hundreds and hundreds of Jordanian youth who managed to actually get the government to think again and again and again of what they're really doing and what they need to do moving forward. Thank you very much, Aisha. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, for giving me this chance to talk.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Minister Hanande, for your remarks on youth and talent development. Many thanks to all the participants on the ministerial panel, and a special thank you to Burga Brenda, the President of the World Economic Forum, and Hulan Zhao, the Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union. We know that digital technologies operate without borders, and innovation thrives when information is able to flow freely across the world. This is why the key to successfully accelerating the digital economy requires cooperation that transcends boundaries. This can mean public-private partnerships, regional cross-border agreements, and global accords. Over the past year, we have seen the necessity of working together to overcome hurdles and begin to envision a more resilient, shared future. The hardships have provided us with a robust roadmap, and today marks the first step forward.
are joining hands today to launch a historic organization witnessed by the General Secretary of the International Telecommunication Union and by the President of the World Economic Forum. We're launching today the organization, DCO, an organization that in a world post-2020 will help us realize a digital future for all by empowering women, youth, and entrepreneurs, by going and growing our respective digital economy and leapfrog into the future with innovation. 5 nations are joining hands with an economic power of $1 trillion today, but an opportunity to add another $1 trillion worth of digital economy in the next couple of years. Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Pakistan, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and many others to come, are proudly to announce today the Digital Cooperation Organization, the DCO, to help us all realize a digital future by empowering people, growing our combined digital economy, and leapfrog into the future with innovation.
This is an extraordinary alliance, and I know we all look forward to hearing more about the work that is accomplished in the days to come. Thank you, Your Excellency. To mark this historic moment, I'd like to welcome the members of the newly established alliance to the stage. Welcome to His Excellency Kamal Ahmed, the Minister of Transportation and Telecommunication for the Kingdom of Bahrain. Glad to have you with us today.
Pleasure to have you.
His Excellency Ahmed Hanande, the Minister of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship for the Kingdom of Jordan. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's my great honor and pleasure.
His Excellency Salim Al-Odaina, the Chairman of the Board and Chief Executive Officer of the Communication and Information Technology Regulatory Authority for the State of Kuwait. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aisha. Thank you so much.
And His Excellency Said Amin al-Haq, the Federal Minister for Information Technology and Telecommunication for the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Glad to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. In fact, it's a great pleasure for me.
Thank you all for joining. And now we will have each minister endorse the organization.
Okay.
By agreeing to this understanding, the DCO establishes a new era of transformation and collaboration, one that recognizes the need for global cooperation, both public. Now, that the members have officially endorsed the DCO, we want to reveal the logo for this new venture.
We came together to realize dreams, to create possibilities, to allow evolutions, to establish connections, to help each other, to achieve success, to design the future, to be unstoppable, to educate, to unite, to be one.